The war in God Valley has begun. So this chapter 1160 started right on the island of God Valley itself. The celestial dragons were shown presenting some of the ones they will capture for the upcoming hunting tournament. Included in those presented was the Devi Clan, specifically the mother of Blackbeard and Blackbeard himself. It also showed the other members of their family. Clearly seen on the face of young Blackbeard was how afraid he was of what he was witnessing until it was shown Gorosei, Saturn, and Garling talking about the Devi Clan that Garling himself allegedly found. And here there was indeed an introduction of who are the favorites to win in the upcoming hunting tournament. On the other side, the scene went back to Dragon. Similar to the recent chapter, LaShunks' mother was still begging Dragon to save her two children. As much as possible, she said he himself should be the one to raise them and that he must never let her children be taken by them, which she was referring to Garling and the Holy Knights, until finally the mother of Shanks died. Dragon, meanwhile, was on his way to the location of Shanks and Shamrock. In the next panel, while the civilians were running, the celestial dragons announced how many points the participants would get depending on who they kill. Additional information was that there was only 1 hour left before the hunting tournament would begin. Back to the civilians, some of them were already in chaos running, until finally the hunting tournament truly began. It was clearly seen on some celestial dragons how eager they were in killing people. Some of those who managed to hide at the very start were quickly killed by them. There was indeed non-stop killing that happened in the first minutes of this hunting tournament. Many innocent civilians lost their lives just because of this worthless event. In the next panel, suddenly the scene shifted to Mary Joais. It turns out that what was happening in God Valley was actually being watched live by some celestial dragons in Mary Joais. Based on the announcement, the leading family in points was the Figar Land family, followed by the Manmeyer family. Speaking of Manmeyer family, one of them was shown. This was Ganku. Using his devil fruit called arrow fruit, he killed civilians without any difficulty. On the other side, Shaki was shown being guarded by some Marines. They said Garling was lucky because she would be his beautiful wife. But one Marine contradicted, saying it was not yet certain since the tournament had just begun. Moving on to other members of the Holy Knights, St. Summers was also shown. He spotted a child at the top of a tree, so he toyed with him and attempted to kill him. But suddenly the father of that child arrived and begged Summers not to kill his son. And as usual, Summers had no care for them. Back to Dragon, as he was running toward the location of those he would rescue, he suddenly encountered corpses. Dragon was saddened by what he saw until he finally reached near the location of Kuma and Ivankov. This was the scene of Ivankov motivating his fellow slaves. It was shown that a celestial dragon had spotted Kuma's group, and when this celestial dragon was about to shoot Kuma, Dragon immediately acted. He killed that celestial dragon. Yes, guys, Dragon did not obey his higher commander. Instead, he followed what he thought was right. In the next panel, the ship of the Rocks pirates was shown arriving at God Valley. This was the scene we saw in chapter 1096. So if in that chapter we did not see Xebec, here he was leading the Rocks pirates, he mentioned that their priority on this island was Shaki, the treasures, and the legendary devil fruits. That's why Xebec said he expected his crew would no longer deceive him. He said he expected cooperation from everyone. After their mission here, that would be the time they would divide all the loot they acquired. When Barbell heard this, he suddenly asked how they would divide Shaki. What Shiki answered was obviously that whoever could save Shaki himself would most likely be the one to claim her. Silver Axe agreed with this. Whitebeard, on the other hand, did not care who would save Shaki. He said he would just do it for the sake of his friendship with her. If Shaki would fall in love with him, then that was fine, too. When Stussy heard this, her head suddenly heated up. Gloriosa, meanwhile, still had Roger as the one on her lips, and Struzen suddenly mentioned that Wang Ji had stayed behind. While everyone was crazy about Shaki, Big Mom and Kaido were different. Because they did not care about Shaki, their only goal was the legendary devil fruits. And here the ship of the Rocks pirates began to advance, with Marines bombarding them with cannons. But as per Xebec, he said they should just go straight and ram everything that blocked them. In the next panel, celestial dragons were shown panicking because of the arrival of the Rock's pirates, fearing for their lives. How ironic. So they threatened the Marines that if something happened to them, they would kill the Marines. And here the panel suddenly shifted to Dragon, who had now found the twins LaShunks and Shamrock. Dragon took advantage of the chaos of the celestial dragons and quickly ran to LaShunks. While this was happening, the Marines' radio reported the arrival of the Roger pirates. And yes, the Roger pirates were shown led by Golded Roger. His lips, too, were speaking of Shaki. He said this was the priority of his pirate crew. But in a comedic way, Roger suddenly stumbled. When Garling noticed these pirates slowly landing at God Valley, he immediately became worried. Same with the other celestial dragons. And here, the full Holy Knights were finally revealed. Some of them, we finally saw their full design. Garling ordered that the Marines be told to protect the celestial dragons. Speaking of Marines, they were still continuously attacking the Rock's pirates and Roger pirates. They kept firing cannons at them. In the next panel, Whitebeard and Shiki were seen attacking some Marine soldiers until finally the protagonist arrived. Holding a cannonball itself, Garp threw it into the middle of the chaos. This has caused a powerful explosion. This explosion angered Roger and Xebec, and yes, in the last panel of this chapter, it revealed the arrival of Garp at God Valley. Because of this, the morale of the entire Marines rose. They gained hope that they could defeat the pirates. And here, this chapter 1160 finally ended. The analysis for this chapter, as usual, we will talk about in our next video. So stay tuned to our channel. Before you leave, I hope you can click the subscribe button because we are just a little bit away from reaching 1 million subscribers. So thanks to those who will click it. So that's it. Peace!